Bethany TV, for health. Bethany TV, for health.
You're welcome, viewers. Good evening. I'm your host, Moses. This is B2B, Back to Basics, a program that brings to you topics that touch our lives. And today, we have a program that talks about media in schools, the influence of media in schools. You're very much welcome to B2B. It happens every Monday to Friday from 10 to 11 p.m. on Bethany TV for health. And I'm your host, Moses. Very excited tonight because I have a guest in the studio. Edwin, you're welcome. This is Bethany TV for health, and back to basics program brings you topics that touch our lives, in our day-to-day lives of our children, parents, government, all that. We discuss them here. So you're very much welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Moses. And of course, hello to our viewers. You should expect much tonight. I'm here and my name is Edwin Twinomugisha. Usually I call myself the science doctor.
Yeah. Science doctor.
Yes, please.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Would you mind elaborate more on the science doctor?
Yeah.
For the viewers to
they understand.
Yes.
Yeah, Moses, I'm Edwin Twinomugisha, like I said. Yes. And of course, the science doctor is my other brand name, because I do a number of things under that very umbrella. I've done a number of teaching, of course, in relation to science, and I've done, my work is on all social media platforms.
Yes.
I have different, social media handles, and they all read the Science Doctor. And basically, I do part of education. I look at how, teachers relate closely to learners, and then I discuss a number of challenges that these learners meet during their, education journey. So I do a number of things under the umbrella, the Science Doctor. So basically, that's Edwin.
Science Doctor.
Yes, please.
Great, you're welcome.
It's my pleasure.
And this is Back to Basics on Bethany TV. We are live on GoTV and also free to air. You can also join us on our social media platforms: Facebook, Bethany Television UG, and Twitter, Bethany Television. You're very much welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, tonight, media influence in schools. We've heard the word media. We've realized that there is quite much when it comes to media, especially in schools. Back then in our days, we used to have a blackboard, then textbook, and they formed part of the teaching learning process.
True.
Actually, the core of the teaching learning process. For every classroom, you would need a blackboard, and that's all. But now with the advent of the internet, electronic media, we've seen these tools come, and there's a lot of multimedia techniques used in schools. And obviously, I believe they have positive and negative effects.
That's true.
But start with Edwin.
Yes, please.
From the professional point of view. Tell the viewers, what do we understand by media? What is media to start with?
Yeah, thank you very much, Moses, and of course to all our viewers tonight. The question, like Moses is putting it right, we are looking at the media against education. And then when we talk about media, definitely we look at a number of various channels. We look at the number of platforms through which different internet messages are delivered. Currently, like you have stated it, back then, we used to have, when you talk about education, you talk about teaching and learning, then it's about school, it's about blackboards, it's about, chalk, but currently things have changed. And of course, like you said, media, currently we are now dealing so much and closely with internet. So we are looking at a number of platforms where different messages are delivered. You see, it started, from another angle, very many years, if not too close to them today. People used to say, if you talk about media, then you are talking about entertainment. You are talking about, drama. You are talking about, but then media has finally come into education sector. and therefore it is chasing the odd. If you moved around schools in Kampala, you will realize that some schools are now completely changing into the current media setting, and that is where perhaps the generation is heading. But then maybe going forward, we shall be able to discuss and we see to what extent has it really either negatively or positively affected the entire education system.
Thank you, Edwin.
Yes, please, Moses.
Can we identify the current media forms or current media techniques used in schools, in our Ugandan secondary schools, for example?
Yes, Moses, of course, I will not go away from Uganda. We are in Uganda and a number of things are being done, and we of course see these things, and we at sometimes we also associate ourselves with the same settings. But if I would tell you, when we say media, I want our viewers to first understand that this can either be the mass media, it can as well be social media. It depends on the way you interpret the concept. Yeah, because when you talk about the mass media, we shall definitely look at the bigger, the broader, way of disseminating this kind of information. In this case, we will find there TVs, Bestana TV being one of them. Information is given now. I'm just right here in the Bestana studio, but people in Ushenya are right, they are watching me. And then if I give the right information, whether it is an adult or a student who is in Oshenya will be able to take up the same information that I've given right here. That is the mass media. Mass media in schools, of course, we have seen the newspapers. Currently, schools are working closely with the newspapers. You can't talk about, education and passing exams, and then you neglect the new, the papers. So people and very many schools want to keep following the trend. What are the questions of chemistry that are released in this paper today? What are the questions of biology, of mathematics, and other learning disciplines that are released, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and so on and so forth. So when you touch into it, you will realize that the schools have gone an extra mile to, understanding that media is here. Look, if media is here, where is our throat? Where is our part? What do we pick out of it? Should we go by, mass media, or we go social media? I think then by the end of this program tonight, we should be able to understand, maybe like the viewers who are watching us tonight, they understand if you must let your child, your student watch or have an interaction with the media, which exactly media should they, associate with? Should it be social media? Should it be mass media? And if any of the two, if not both of them, how practically should this one be managed at a certain level so that it does not leave a very serious harm, onto these students, largely students. Tonight I'm talking about students because we want to relate. Schools, of course, schools, we are there and they will be there. They shall always be there. But then at the end of it all, they are producing citizens, they are producing students whom we expect to find in different, offices tomorrow. So it means if they experience a very serious effect of the media, let it be, mass media or social media, then automatically you shall have the same effect, in these very people going forward. So to me, I think, we shall be discussing the effects and perhaps the positive contribution of media to education, but largely schools are into contact. They are greatly, in fact, some schools in this country, if you try to make some investigations, they are greatly married to media. Some of them have resorted to that. A teacher of biology will tell you, what, I must wait. I must wait for the paper to release these questions, and that will be our assessment this week. You get the point? In primary setting, they will tell you the good mathematics questions, they appear in papers. You get? So at the end of it all, these people are trying to relate what is released by the media, into the current curriculum that they are following. And at the end of it all, if it's about the news, maybe the papers, it could be slightly, fair in terms of effect. But then talk about the one who will just tell you, Daddy, Mommy, I have to sit on the TV and I watch. Before you know, it's not about the program that was educative. It's not about the lesson that perhaps was conducted on the TV, but now it has changed. The child has gone on, because at the end of it all, children and students, they focus so much on the fun part of of media. That's where my issue is tonight.
Okay, that's more elaborative, and thank you very much for that.